Sometimes we have all the resources we have in the world, but we don't have clarity about what to do. Welcome back to yet another episode. I couldn't be more thrilled that you're here. This year, we are all about moving forward with intention. And one of the things I realized is that a lot of us get stuck about, I know I want to grow, I know I want to move differently, but what is that thing? Like, what is my purpose? What is the one thing that I need to know that I can do well? And I know that's something I have sort of grappled with. And so today I want us to have a discussion about how do I find clarity of purpose, of how I should move and get into the best version of my life and get into my dream life. So today let's dive in. If you're new here, my name is Edith, and we talk about all things leveling up. We talk about womanhood. We talk about our experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, the lessons, the mistakes, the wins, everything in between. It's the woman experience. And if you know someone who would like this kind of content, let them know, share the link, and be sure to subscribe. But welcome back. So let's talk about clarity. I just felt in my heart to talk about this. It's not something I have really prepared to talk about, but one of the things that holds us back, I believe, is sometimes we have all the resources we have in the world, but we don't have clarity about what to do, even clarity on how we can use these resources. And that's why in my channel, I'm so passionate about trying to break things down into like, what are the things you can try? So clarity is, for me, a prayer that I remember in 2024, very early on in the year, after I had my third baby, I knew that because I was so sick after, during my last pregnancy, so sick. And I told God that if I do have this baby and they're healthy, my life has to count for something. And that's how this YouTube journey started, because I didn't want again to not take advantage of just good health. God had always given me so many years, and I thought, oh my God, what have I really been doing those years when I have been well and healthy? Because sometimes when you're sick, it's when you realize how precious life is. And I remember thinking that one of the prayer points, especially when I gave birth to my son, was I need such clarity from God on how to move forward, such precise clarity that there'll be no doubt in my mind about how to move forward. And it's in that space that I tried a lot of things, but also God connected me to some amazing human beings, and I was able, for example, to start this channel. But let's track a little back to like, how do I find that clarity? How do I know what I was called into or what I was born into? A bit of a caveat here. I think human beings, we are complex in the sense that we can be many things at one time, and that's fine. So you could love art and be good at it and be an engineer here and, love sport. That's not the kind of thing I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of impact you want to have and what are the one or two things that you know for sure with your soul deep down that if you were to do them, you would not only stretch yourself, but you will leave a mark on humanity. So for me, one of the things that I know holds true is that God has given me the knowledge and the passion to uplift women, to give them the resources and the tools they need to get to their next level in life. That is my ultimate true calling. And I might do it in various ways or forms, but that for me, I know deep down is my true calling. So what are some of the things you can do or start thinking about to try and understand, like, what could be my calling, or what clarity, how can I get clear? So number one of the things I say to do is just take a piece of paper and write down, one, the thing that you enjoy doing and the things that you don't enjoy quite doing. And this will start from the things that you do in your daily life, things that are on your responsibility to do. So for example, I am a mom, I'm a wife, I enjoy this. What are the spaces you really enjoy and what are those that don't? Because first we want to separate the things that, nice to have, but you don't really enjoy. The other things are the things you really, really enjoy. And by the way, one of the things that I realized when I was thinking through praying for clarity, I really used to enjoy podcasts that, especially by women who are talking about development, personal development, who are talking about experiences of women. I could stay for hours just listening to that. I loved having conversations with people about experiences of women, whether male or female. That is the one topic. Even my husband will tell you, used to call me a feminist. So what are the things? And don't feel like they are too mundane. If it's something that you really, really enjoy doing, there are people literally who just love talking. And they have made a career out of public speaking and talking to people. So I want you to write a list of things that you really enjoy doing versus those you don't really enjoy much. So that's number one. And I call it the joy versus drain audit. So the things that really, joy is the focus, the things that truly give you joy. Like for the example I gave you, I know there are people who are just really, joyful about plants. Like a friend I know who just really enjoys nurturing plants. So you want to make a joy versus drain audit and don't focus on the things that drain you. And by the way, it might be surprising that a lot of us are in careers that drain you, but you want to be, because this is your personal list, you want to be very honest. What are the things that really drain you? If you had no choice, you'd never have to do them again. And what are the things, even if no one paid you, or what is the one thing or two things that you would do it? So the joy versus drain audit is one of the things to find, to get more clear on your purpose. Number two, I want you to think about your future self. This is another one that, like I said, I started this channel because that time when I was so sick, when I was expecting my baby, mortality, I just felt like, we just have a limited time on earth. And so you want to think of what would 90-year-old me think of themselves when you're old, frail, and weak. And we don't like thinking about that. And that's a bit extreme, but I think it just makes you more laser focused on what's the advice, your 90-year-old self would give you. What would they regret not having done? I always knew I would regret not having some form of community and impacting women. That was always very clear to me. I knew I would always regret not pursuing, that line. I've always known that for me, it's very clear that one of the things I would regret is not being on a public platform and reaching as many women. So you have to think for yourself, what are the absolute regrets that the 90-year-old version of you would have? And what would you tell them? Because it's like this example of when, it's your time and people are at your funeral. I know it's a very stark example, but if people are at your funeral, what kind of person or what kind of legacy would you want your obituary to be about? Of course, some personal things there, but also what would you like people to say? How did you impact them? What did you do? And that's a very powerful, I believe, way of thinking. Oh my God, I will regret it if I don't start this catering business. I will not be at peace if I don't start this design hobby that I love so much. I always wanted to do TikTok videos about, I don't know what. Just start thinking, what is the message you would have for the world, and write down about that. So your future old self is just a good compass of like, now that you are old and you don't have much energy, what do you wish you would have done? And something that's closer along those lines is when you want to make a decision or you want to test out a few things and find your clarity, there's this other rule I love, the 10-10-10 rule. How would this decision affect me 10 days from now, 10 weeks, 10 months from now, 10 years from now? And the more long term it is, the more positive it is in the long term, the more you want to do it. So for example, do I want to be in this career, in this job, living like this 10 years from now? If the answer is no, then you don't really enjoy your career or job. And while you might not quit now, you want to find clarity around what would I rather be doing 10 years from now. For some is, I just want more time, more money with my kids. I don't want to be in a toxic workplace like this 10 years from now. Because here's the thing, we always think we have more time. And then sometimes we do. 10 years pass by and you've been so miserable because you've been in a job or you've been even in a relationship that wasn't serving you. So you always want to ask yourself, this decision I'm making around where I want to go, how does it impact me 10 months from now, 10 years from now? So that's also another way to think, the future self. Like, how will this decision impact me 10 years from now, 20 years from now? And for me, all of the things, like I talked to you about my passion for learning with and learning, making women, learn or gain new skills. I absolutely know 10 years from now, that's what I want to be doing without, contradiction. I know for sure. So that's yet another thing of like, how do I find clarity? How do I move with such purpose? The other thing that I was really thinking about, which is important and I think could really be helpful, is to spend some time by yourself without the noise. Especially for the things that are more longer impact, very purpose-driven. You want to really think about deep down, if there were no external voices, if I didn't care about what people thought, if I had all the money, all the resources in the world, what have I always wanted to do? What would I give so freely if I wasn't scared, if I felt I had all the money? Because I think this is clarity of purpose. I think you already have it. It's just that sometimes you don't stay long enough with yourself and you just don't want to dig a little bit deeper. But I think if you just ask any of us, what have you always wanted to do? It's quite clear. It really is quite clear without batting an eyelid. And some of these things, I tend to think of it like a whisper from God. Like most of us have things they wanted to do since they were teenagers or young children. And even now, it's still calling on your heart. And by the way, if you haven't checked out the video on imposter syndrome, I think I did another one on forms of procrastination. One of the ways is just really not ever starting anything. So watch that video. But here's the thing. A lot of us have known for so many years what we want to do. We might not be clear on the how, but we know what we love doing. Some of you just love, taking videos. Others, I don't care what it is you love, but find the thing that gives you so much joy and find pockets of silence. Pray about it if it's your thing. Meditate. Just spend a lot more time with yourself despite the noise, because that thing is already there. The other thing that I could think about, which is a bit more, it's like a scientific way of looking at it, is design thinking. So this is where you map like various points in your life and see how the dots connect. Because some of us love to think not so much in an emotional way. I'm very emotionally driven, and so I'm very intuitive and in touch with what I want. So for those of us who really don't want to think about that emotional, purpose-driven clarity, I want you to think of mind mapping or journey mapping. So what did you study in school? What were the major milestones in your life that shaped you? What skills have you studied? Where have people told you, for example, that you're good at? So you want to map unique stages and journeys in your life, your skill sets, very important things that stick with you in your mind. So you dump it all like on a piece of paper and see what is the common thread that unites all of that thing. So there's a lot of, I know some people who do this kind of design thinking around like, what is the one thread that connects me to my purpose and to my gives me more clarity. So that's something that you could also try, where you went to school, your skill sets, any memorable thing that maybe you even did once but always sticks with you and you would love to try it again. So this kind of mind mapping is sort of a brain dump of all your collective experiences, your skills, your weaknesses, your strengths, and all of that, highs and lows, and then try and see the connecting thread. Because sometimes it is in your story where you see that I've always gravitated towards A, B, C, and D. So I hope those are helpful. But for me, the one that worked powerfully, because again, I really believe that each of us has the one thing that they are called to give back to humanity, is really spend a lot of time in prayer, in meditation, in silence. And it's not like a grand thing of waking up and, meditating for like hours long, but pray for it, because clarity, like I said, sometimes is the fastest thing to moving with speed. It's not so much the resources. There's so many of us, by the way, who are in jobs, who already have the resources they need to find their purpose, but they haven't found it because life gets busy. We don't know what to do. So sometimes clarity is the thing we need to move us forward, not more resources. And I hope that helps. And I hope you really do find your divine calling, that out of these small things you can try and see whether you're closer. And I hope that most of you listening, if you've listened to the end, that tells me that this resonated with you and you have a tagging to do that thing. So I hope this year we can discuss a lot of the strategies to move towards that, because that's what I'm all about. And I really wish you the best. So do comment down there of what your life calling is, because sometimes writing down something is telling the universe, I am ready and I am manifesting it. And until next time, do have lovely days ahead. And please, 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 I hope you do find the clarity that you need to move you forward and serve humanity. Until then, God bless. Bye.